right. Okay. Very good. How you doing out there, guys? It's Dave Duford here at Final Expense Agent Mentor. Hope you're having a fantastic day and everything is going the way you want it. In today's No BS Final Expense Training session, let me turn my phone off here, I will be talking about how agents can get an average of $5,000 in weekly production and what it takes to get to that level of production. The reason I'm putting together this video is because I made a video probably about a year ago where I wrote, I think it's been my highest production week. I wrote 21 applications in 5 days. It was a killer week and very well watched video, and I figured it'd be pretty good to put something together like that, but a more of a technical video as to how to get to that point and what it takes to consistently do it. So that's why I'm cutting this video. So what we're going to talk about are what I think are the 6 or 7 points that you really need to follow, and each point is important in order to consistently hit these numbers weekly. Again, we're not talking about a one-shot, one-off week where everybody throws their checkbooks at you and buys. Everybody gets that, those who do a lot of work and those who don't. What I'm talking about is a consistent level of production on a weekly basis and what it takes structurally and fundamentally to get there. So the one fundamental element, and I've got my little note list here that I'm looking at, the one fundamental element to final expense consistency in any kind of production or premium is that you have to understand that final expense primarily is a numbers game. Now, I'm not saying that how you sell or what you sell doesn't matter, but it's important to understand that if you don't see the people, you don't put the work effort into it, you're not going to get the kind of results that you like. You're not going to see these kind of numbers show up if you're not doing what it takes on a week-to-week basis, even a day-to-day and an appointment-to-appointment basis on working and fighting to see the people. So understand that once you've primed your presentation, you know exactly what you're doing, you feel comfortable with the entire process, the bottom line is that you can take what you know at that level and then scale it up. That's the beauty about final expense, is that all you need to do is just do more in order to be successful. You don't have to come up with a way to go from a 25% closing ratio to a 50% closing ratio. No, it'd be great if you could, but you can take that lower closing ratio and just scale it up in the form of more people, more leads, which will get you more results. So I'm a big believer that the bottom line is you got to get out there and do the numbers, do the hard work. I harp on this all the time. It may sound boring, but it's so fundamental and important, and it's what all the top agents share. There's no magic potions or silver bullets in final expense. It's seeing the people and hard work. Okay, perfect. So let's talk specifics. So if someone were to ask me, Dave, how do I reach a consistent level of business where I hit $5,000 a week? What does it take to get there? So the following description are what I would consider to be the 6 major points to do it. So number 1 is to buy direct mail final expense leads on a weekly basis. If you look at all the top producers in final expense, if you ever go on convention and you talk to the guys that are amongst the top 10, the top 20, what you're going to find is 90% of those guys are using the same drab, boring final expense leads that have been around for decades. Why do they do it? Because it works. But why does it work so well? I don't really know. It just does. And that's what's important. So with that kind of knowledge, why not duplicate what they're already doing? You don't need to come up with some newfangled idea or marketing system that may sound good on the surface, but when you pull the layers of the onion back, you realize that there's a lot more difficulty to it than you would imagine. So the key thing here is to dial into a direct mail campaign as quickly as possible. Use the direct mail leads that are tried and true. Don't try some new idea out. I've done that. I've lost my shirt on it. It actually took me out of the business for a short period of time because of my own stupidity is more like it. So don't do what I did. Just do direct mail, business reply card leads. I don't really care what the lead says. I like a lead that's more specific. Others don't. Whatever works for you is what I care about. So, and I'll give you a pointer here. I've been doing this 5.5 years, personally producing. I still personally produce to some extent now, even though I have an agency and recruit. However, I do, when I work in the field, the same exact thing I did when I first started in my first day in this business. So there's got to be something to that. Make your life simple. Just follow the basics and just do what works. Okay. Now, point number 2. This is very important. I didn't figure out this point till I got really into this business a couple of years in. There's 2 problems that you can have in this business. One is horrible to have. The other is great. So 2 problems. How can you have a good problem and a bad problem? Well, let me define what I mean. So the worst problem to have in this business, and any sales business, is not having people to see. If you don't have people to see, you don't have anybody to sell to, and you're out of business. I always say when I explain this to my agents, if Tony Robbins is sitting up on stage doing his thing, and he's giving the best pitch of his life, and he's really motivating, and there's nobody in the audience, the entire arena is empty, it doesn't matter how good he is. He's not going to see anybody. He's not going to sell anything. And so that's where I'm going with this. Again, back to the numbers thing, this is just the same kind of conversation here. You don't want to be in the worst position, which is not having enough leads. You want to be you want to have the best problem. The best problem is to have too many people to see, where you're not under pressure to come up with leads, where you're not under pressure to fill a day up with appointments or have people to see. There's so many agents that really get a sense of stress taken off their shoulders if they just commit to really buying a little bit more leads than they need to, because we all have ups and down weeks. And it's one thing to have a down week because you don't have enough people to see. It's another thing to have it because it just turned out that way. The thing is that if you have more leads and you know you've got a fresh, plentiful supply of them, you can have the confidence and the assurance that you get out there and you're probably going to do the best that you can because you've got this supply. So putting this into action, all that means is you just buy more than you think. If it takes 20 leads to get the sales you want, buy 25. If it takes 30, get 40. It's not that much more money to do it, but you get a lot more peace of mind, and really at the end of the day you are going to make more money if you get out there and work them. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is to know your numbers. If you were here last week on my training session, you know that I talked about the numbers behind final expense. It's important to know your basic numbers so that you can get an idea what it takes to scale up to the $5,000 in premium. So for example, if you're taking 20 leads a week now and you're writing 4 cases, your average premium is $600 a year. That means you're writing $2,400 a week in business on 20 leads. If our goal is $5,000, then we know roughly all we have to do, if everything I've described follows, and it does, is you just need to double your leads and then double your appointments. And usually the closing ratios follow and the application sizes remain the same. That gives you some substance behind what your goal should be to get to that number. Again, the numbers I care about most in this business when it comes to training an agent and letting them know where they need to be in order to hit those numbers is how many applications per batch of leads they close, so application to lead ratio. I also care about what their appointment percentage to lead ratio is, just as a crude metric to see how they're performing. And ultimately, return on investment is the most important thing, as well as what their average case size, because we can extrapolate from this, again, where you want to be versus where you are now, and then what you have to change to get to that point. Of course, all of this process is very important if you ever have challenges in closing business and you need kind of a primer on what do you need to do to get things going again. So very important to do. Point number 4 is you have to set appointments and door knock. I'm of the persuasion, for new agents especially, that door knocking is the easiest way to get out the door and make sales. It's the best way, in my opinion, to get the most out of your leads. When you're in front of somebody face to face, you're going to get the most opportunity to explain yourself, to connect with a person, versus where it's over the phone, you're going to run into difficulties if you're brand new and you've never set appointments. And with that said, notice I said appointments and door knocking. To get to the $5,000 a week level, usually you're going to be taking more than 20 leads a week, probably 30 to 40, for many agents. And it's pretty tough to get through 30 and 40 leads by just simply door knocking. Could you do it? Sure, probably if you work 6 days a week. It's multiple late nights. So with that said, you got to learn how to set appointments, or you got to do appointment setting yourself. One of the others are going to do the job. Appointment setting, I offer an appointment setting program if you're interested in getting appointments set for you by somebody for a fee. That's very helpful. If you're interested, check my website out. There's more information at the top of the navigation bar. But really, at the end of the day, truly, setting your own appointments is ideal. If you can set your own appointments, you're going to get a better conversion ratio than outsourcing it, and you're going to get better results overall. And what you want to do in between appointments is make sure you're door knocking leads that are the unanswerables. These are the people that, if the president called, they would never answer anyway because they screen everything. They don't want to talk to anybody. The nice thing about it is if you're the first person that shows up, you're going to make the sale because most people aren't going to do the extra effort to get in front of them. So spend your time door knocking those leads that are blank, that have no phone number or are disconnected, or even the ones that hung up on you before you can make your pitch. Those are all perfectly fine, and the ones that even hang up on you, they're not going to remember you a week or two later. So if you do all this, you're going to get a lot better results, okay? Because you're not going to see or talk to everybody on the phone. Ask anybody who sets appointments. There's always a batch that never picked the phone up or disconnected or that kind of thing. And the best way to door knock, by the way, best times to door knock are after 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I learned this from my first agent trainer in the business, Andrew Fike out of Atlanta, a very good agent. He taught me that the best time to door knock is 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon or later, and I definitely believe that's the case because a lot of these people are at doctor's appointments, harder to reach during the morning. You should door knock in the morning, but if I were to say what's the best time, that would be what my recommendation is. Okay, so point number 5. Next one is when you door knock, again, the whole concept of what I'm explaining here is how to maximize your efficiency. Because when you door knock, there are going to be plenty of doors you knock on that never answer the door. What I like to use when I go out and door knock are sticky notes. If you don't know what a sticky note is, I'll be happy to email you more information on how to get some. But basically, it's like a note about yay size. It says delivery notice on the top. You fill in the information, and you stick it on the person's door. And what happens, of course, is the person thinks it's some kind of delivery notice from the package parcel service, and they call back thinking they're getting something. And of course they are. They're getting the stuff we're delivering to them, right? So it's technically correct. But when the strategy is when somebody calls, you don't answer it. You just turn around and go to the person's house knowing they're there so you can get an appointment on the spot. Now, it's something that, hope you're doing well, Caesar. Thanks for the like. It's one of those things where you're not going to get everybody to call you back on these things. People are kind of, aware of what they're all about, about half of them. But my experience is for every 10 you put out, you're going to get 4 to call back. And the cool thing is there's a pretty high appointment setting percentage that actually sets with you. Again, the more appointments you're getting from this, the more results you're going to get out of it. Because there's got to be deals in some of these leads that don't pick the phone up, and I promise you there are. So use the sticky notes, again, to maximize your efficiency, to get more results, and to produce a higher return on investment to hit that $5,000 production amount. All right, and then last point here, all ties in with the numbers game. You've got to work your ass off. And I mean that sincerely. This business is a grind. Ask anybody who's been in this business. You have got to get out there and fight to see the people. This is not an easy business. It's simple. It's a simple process, rinse and repeat. But it's definitely not easy. And so you've got to get out there and fight to see these people. Try to get in front of as many people as you can and sell as many as you can. That's what this business really comes down to in a vast majority. And to get this $5,000 premium weekly amount, you're probably not going to do it in 2 full days. Maybe over time as you get more experienced and can set more appointments in a smaller amount of time. But the average agent is what I'm speaking to right now. You're probably going to have to work 4 days, at least maybe 5, a couple of late nights to hit the people up who are, how you doing, Benny, by the way? Thanks for the like. Who are watching this video, who are out there seeing the people. You're just going to have to get out there and work more. It's just the way it is. One of the things that's funny about the insurance business is the concept sold by insurance agencies is you run your own business, right? You have the freedom to determine when you work, where you work, or why you would work. But a lot of times that attracts lazy people. They don't want to go more than 30 minutes away to work. They don't want to go 2 hours out in the country if the leads are better and the quality of business is better. You know, or they don't want to work late nights. They don't want to go out and see people at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and then drive 2 hours back. I've done all of this. And I can tell you every top producer has as well. You have got to commit yourself to working and giving yourself the best opportunity for the sales that are out there, because there's a lot of money to be made in this business. You just have to give yourself the best shot and the best opportunity to do so. So there's my lecture on my soapbox. I shall step off now. So that's pretty much it, guys. $5,000 a week, I'll leave you with this, is an easily achievable goal once you know what it takes to get there. Again, anytime you want to go somewhere, you got to have a path and a strategy to get there. This is what I teach my agents how to do. It's achievable. And the cool thing is once you start hitting 5,000, if you're just doing 2,000 now, or you're sitting here thinking, wow, I'd love to make 5,000 a week or sell 20,000 a month, but how can I even do that? I promise you, once you start to hit those numbers, it loses its sex appeal. It's like you hit it, and now it's not a big deal. And it's not some sort of mental ceiling to get above anymore. It's kind of weird how it works. I mean, and then at each stage you start going up, you start finding it's the same level. Like right now for me, if I'm out there in the field, I get high off of hitting a $10,000 a week, okay? I can do it if I get out there 5 days a week and I work 30 appointments a week. You can really do it. But the thing is that what's cool about it is you'll get normal. It's kind of weird to think about it. You'll get accustomed to that kind of production. Because once you know you can do it, it takes away that kind of resistance that, can I do it? I don't know if I can, because you do it and it's like, yeah, I can do it. It's not a big deal like I thought it was. So with that said, go out and do it. Look at your numbers. Manage your production numbers. Look at how much you're closing. Look at how many leads you're taking in. Look at your current production. Do the numbers to figure out what it takes to get to that next level. And then put a strategy in place to get there. Again, this is just a numbers game once you're good at this business. And hitting 5,000 a week is not a big deal for a guy who knows what they're looking at and knows where they're going to get there. So, thank you so much for listening to my No BS Final Expense Training newsfeed. I hope you enjoyed it. I will repost this video on YouTube once it's done setting up here on Facebook. And if you've got any questions, concerns, or would like for me to address any sort of questions regarding anything final expense, go ahead and comment down here in the comment box, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. And I'll be more than happy to address and really create a custom training session around those questions. I love taking user comments. You guys have the best comments and concerns and questions, and I like for this kind of training to be user focused and agent focused on what they care about. So there you go, Dave Duford, Final Expense Agent Mentor. If you're interested in working with me or with any of my lead programs, go to feagentmentor.com. And I want to thank you for listening. Take care.